Welcome everyone to episode, is it 101 or 102? We're at 102.
102, yeah.
102.
We mixed it up.
102 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your veteran hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. We are over the century. And
do you become a vet at 100? Is that the deal, is it?
I've now coined that, so that's
Okay.
that's You Can't Comp This
law.
fact. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we get to at the next hurdle, but what's the next hump is what, 150, 200? When do we get to put our Hall of Fame ballots in?
Yeah, I don't.
No. I'm gonna detour back to the show now. Anyway, we're past 100.
I think our next goal should be to give away all the stuff that EJs have given us, because we've still got stock from.
Didn't we give away some stuff for
we did.
Voice
so
we got more stuff.
2 boxes have been sent out. We've still got another box. We got stickers.
We do another round of voicemails.
And we got the Pokemon box. And Carson was asking us, have we given it away yet? I'm like, I still haven't given away the stuff from 6 months ago. So
we'll get there.
Think that should be our next
our next
goal.
Mission.
Yeah.
Giveaways. That's it. Get on board. We'll get the giveaways happening.
So I don't really want to start with this Cardporn thing first. Can we start with something a bit more
something good, something
light
nice
and interesting? Can we start with Magic Johnson? Because we touched on that a little bit last week about doing sort of a deep dive.
Mm-hmm. We can.
How about while I'm going through his career achievements, you find a card of Magic's that you like and you can talk about that, and then we'll switcheroo. How does that sound?
Ooh, I like. All right, I might jump on and have a look.
I'm a little bit obsessed with Magic because his game really spoke to me. I love that type of player that could play, 5 different positions. And he did. He jumped at center in his rookie year in the finals. So it's not like the kid literally couldn't play every center. And then as he got older and slower, he was like a point forward. And that was kind of a point power forward, I really should say. And then I loved him as a point guard too, because the way he used to just run up and down the floor. And then they used to do that sort of bully ball with him as a point guard and, back them down, which ended up them changing the rules a little bit later on. But let's not. Anyway, look, I think that guys like Magic are super interesting too, because he was literally larger than life. And I think that a lot of the stuff that he did get up to outside of the basketball court ultimately did, significantly impact his on-court play, because when he did have to retire due to HIV, at that time they didn't know that what was going to happen. Was he going to be passing it over to people on the court? And
that's true.
Was he going to be dead in 2 years?
Well, that was it. Like it was. I wasn't even when I was very young, obviously, when it happened, but it was very much a what does this mean? Was my.
But you wouldn't have been that young that you wouldn't have. You remember that though, don't you?
I was in high school.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so you're not a.
It was. There were points where it was just like, because then the focus sort of shifted to Jordan as far as the landscape with NBA basketball.
Yeah.
But it was at the back of my mind. It was like, what does this mean? Is he going to be okay?
Yeah, totally.
Like there's so many, because I'm at high school, so there are a lot of kids making fun of it. Like, because that's what kids hear news. Haha, your player doesn't play anymore. And they don't know what it means because they're not really comprehending what's happened.
Yeah.
But it was, all I could think of was how long does this mean he's got?
Yeah.
And the answer to that still hasn't been answered, which is great.
Well, I think these days it's considered a chronic illness as opposed to a death sentence. And so the other thing that I love too is when people take that sort of challenge head on, and then he became an advocate and, driving research, raising funds for research, supporting people with HIV and AIDS and, really changing, a lot of people's lives. And, I hate to say it like that, sort of taking the positive from the negative, but geez, he took, negative situation and turned it into something that's just frankly amazing. So, I've got a lot of respect for Magic and what he's done. And so let's talk some hoops. Top 50 greatest player of all time, top 75 of all time, NBA champion 80, 82, 85, 87, 88. Most valuable player 87, 89, 90. Finals MVP 80, 82, 87. All NBA first team. There's a heap of them there.
Yeah.
8 of them second team 82, player of the month, and same of them, heaps of them, all rookie team 80, the Citizenship Award in 1992 and the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019. So I love this guy. I'm just trying to think of a modern comparison to him. The one that I remember frothing over is Lamar Odom, because I thought he was kind of going to be like the second coming of Magic, but that never really. Maybe the off-court stuff he might have equaled with Magic, but that was probably about all he lived up to. But what do you reckon today? Who's the closest comp to Magic?
To Magic. It's interesting. I don't know. It's weird because I keep going back to like LeBron.
Yeah.
It's actually like it feels LeBron James-ish.
Yeah, sure.
With his like, because LeBron's passing skills are incredibly underrated. You know what I mean? And the way he was a forward that runs the point, and like Magic was just like built. He's 6'8". He's like, oh, I'll just start at point. I'm not going to announce myself as a forward. I'm just a point guard.
Yeah.
Do you know, like that was Magic.
Yeah.
Got a lot of LeBron about it. And because that man does a lot. He's done everything LeBron. So I don't know any other player that I would give an all-round comp to Magic with. Have you got one? Recent comp?
It's really tricky, isn't it? Because he's such a unique player in terms of... See, I think I don't mind the LeBron comp, but at the same time, I feel like LeBron is more of a scorer than what Magic was, even though Magic could score.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just his court vision that is the comp in my eyes.
Yeah, sure.
Because LeBron sees the floor in a way that reminds me of Magic. It's all about you get to where you need to get to hit the shot, and I'll find you.
This is a really crappy comp, but the one I'm going to go with is LaMelo.
You're about to say LaMelo Ball, aren't you?
Yeah. Just because I feel like the way he plays, like LaMelo is shooting a lot more, and I think that was mostly because his team last year was pretty average. I've been on the record to say that 50 times now, but I do wonder if... So, for example, if you watch the footage from the All-Star game when LaMelo played in that, if you put a better team around LaMelo, is that the true LaMelo Ball and the one that would actually be the most effective? Do you know what I mean? Where he's just like running, gunning, dishing out to people and sort of setting people up. And that kind of is like the essence of Magic Johnson for me, I suppose. That's where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
All right. Card-wise, if you can have one Magic Johnson card, what would you get?
I went into the rookie archives. I know there's the Bird Magic Dr. J, that the 1980 tops, which is sort of the rookie card.
The rookie card, yep.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still have this. His rookie card should be a card with just him. And I also thought I'd seek a bit of value. But the 1981 tops, doing a bit of research, PSA 9s, last sold price is $625 for a 1981 tops Magic Johnson. So it's just him. PSA 10, on the other hand, you're looking, last sold price is $17,000. So very, very interesting numbers.
And are you looking at that card because you think that it's just so much cheaper than the rookie card, so eventually it will just trickle up? And the same thing for the PSA 9. Like, are you thinking that
the PSA? Personally, I'm looking at the PSA 9 going, yes, the population count is incredibly different. There's 1,100 of the PSA 9 and only 80 of the PSA 10. But
yeah, right. So that really drives the price, doesn't it?
600, but a population of 1,000 is a lot, but we're talking about like one of the greatest ever. And so this is the first card he appeared on solo. I don't know. I think there's some value, some potential value there, and that's in my like. I could see myself paying that money.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? Like
it's not outrageous. Like, it's crazy, but it's not outrageous. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, well, it's not 25,000 Australian dollars or something crazy. It's like, if I've got $1,000 lying around, I want a card that could be on my radar.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not like a card that's the population count's gonna go through the roof. Like, it's from 1981.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that one would be my pick.
All right. So I've got two scenarios here. So the first scenario is if money's no object. So I would definitely get the triple rookie card, And I
Yep.
actually think this card is very special for more than just the reasons of Magic. I actually think in some ways this was like the pioneering card where it had more than one person on it, because
Mm-hmm.
the way I look at that card, I almost think, they've got the flawless and it's got the triple Logoman.
Yeah.
I feel like almost that's the grandfather to those cards. And then I'll take it one step further. The people that get that card and then get each of the 3 athletes to sign them,
Oh,
in an
yeah.
aftermarket thing and get it signed off. So there's one on eBay at the moment. You can buy it now for 7,000 USD, which, is like, we're talking like crazy money. And I haven't even comped that out. I'm just looking at it like a current asking price, but that's kind of an amazing card
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's not the
money's no
only.
object.
It's not the only triple card from that set that Magic appears on. There's also the All Star.
Yeah, right.
It's a little bit different. Was it Ron Boone, Maurice Cheeks, and Magic Johnson? The All Star card.
Yeah,
because clearly those 3 are the All Stars, not Bird, Johnson, and Dr. J.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of those ones, isn't it? Where,
yeah.
You wish you had that one again. So then, if you're looking for something different, and these are the ones that I've been really looking at recently, is just a flawless autograph or a NT autograph, because I think he's very generous with his signings. And look, there's a fair bit of Magic stuff out there. So if you're bidding on something and you get, put out of your zone, that's fine. Like, don't stress about it. There's another one next week that'll just like come along. But, that would be what I'm looking at. The price range on those is sort of between $250 to, you can go up to $450, $500 on some of these.
Yeah.
So that's my plan, is just to get lucky one day and one will just fall into my lap on eBay. So
yeah, for sure.
That classic Lakers uniform, that, what do you call it? The gold, yellow, or the canary gold? What do you say?
Gold, just gold.
The Lakers gold.
Lakers gold. Yeah.
It's just classic, him looking up the court, dribbling the ball down. It's like, one of those are going to be mine one day. So that's definitely on the list. Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au.
Love it.
All right, we've started the show with some positivity. I'll get one more quick question and then we'll dive into some negative stuff.
Okay, yep.
Stickers versus on-card autographs. Tell me about the pros and cons of each. And
pros and cons. Personal opinion?
Yeah, personal opinion.
Personal
absolutely.
opinion. Look, I think a sticker auto is. I'm an on-card snob, so I don't know. I like the idea that the player has
if that's your opinion,
signed the card. Yeah,
definitely
actually signed the card. I appreciate that, especially through COVID. We went through that phase where players are just signing stickers. Quality control of the cards can be better, I guess, with stickers. Is a pro. I'm trying to find pros for the sticker stuff, but
so just explain that to people at home. So that means that the cards aren't being sent out to the players aren't then handling them. They're then put into a box and sent back. There's less chance for them to be damaged. And there has been footage surfacing of players literally throwing them around like discuses after signing them. Darren Fox was one of the worst at it, actually.
Yeah, like they don't take it serious. Yeah,
I'm almost certain someone actually pulled him aside and said, "Look, this is the impact you're having on your collectors." So
there are players that didn't sign and just gave the cards out to their mates, didn't they?
And Giannis has kept like a bunch of his.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Sorry, Giannis.
Yeah,
Giannis.
Yeah, you don't want him sending another voicemail through and telling you off again.
I know.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Giannis.
He's been in the news.
Are we segueing into Giannis?
Well, he's put the Bucks on notice. Anyway.
All right.
But yes, Giannis is a.
Let's talk about Giannis. Do you believe that?
No,
I don't either. I know what he's saying. He's like, I want a better team.
Yeah, like he's like, come on, I'm not going to be here forever. He's not demanding a trade, but he's like, come on, guys, lift your game. I don't want to be stuck here with one chip. I deserve better. He's not asking to be traded. He's asking for help.
Definitely.
That's it.
I got to say, though, there's nothing actually that wrong with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. I think they play this team out and then they reload. But
yeah, I think
until this team's played out, sure.
I think they make tweaks in the during the season.
Yeah, sure.
See what happens. But yeah, I think a healthy Bucks is interesting. Anyway,
segue back to stickers versus auto.
Yeah. So look, if you've got a sheet of stickers, it's less likely the player's going to keep a sheet of stickers because they don't care because it's just got their autograph on it. I don't know. It feels less personal. Is the reason I'm not overly keen on the sticker auto. I appreciate that it is a genuine autograph, but it's that I just feel that connection to the card, knowing that player's held the card and signed it.
Yeah,
and I think that's my big selling point and sticking point on that. Why I prefer it, but yeah,
cool. So this thought bubble for me came about when actually I was talking to Karen at EJ's.
Yeah,
and he was focusing on picking up cards that are on card. He's like, if it's on card, people want that, they want to chase it. So I think that goes to what you're saying. It's the players had it, and I think I'd never really considered that so much as a buying and selling, trading sort of aspect of it. I think it's obvious now that he said it, and the logic is there. But the thing I really do appreciate about stickers is that it does create a different price point. So what I mean by that is, like, there isn't a very definitive line in the sand when it comes to the price of on-card autos and stickers. Like, sometimes it can be 50%, sometimes it can be 100%. So, and I like that. I like that you can pick up something for $50 or $100 or $150. So
for sure,
to me, that's really important. And then probably my biggest grumble about the stickers, though, is just the size of the stickers. I really do wish they would make them a little bit bigger because, some athletes make an attempt to sign legitimately, and properly put a bit of effort into it. And then the way I look at that, it's a system error, the system is actually limiting them and holding them back of actually expressing their artistic, needs. So I probably prefer that. What do I want in my collection? The other thing I've noticed in the last few months, I really value on-card autos a lot more. And that's the other thing. Like, when I'm looking at the stuff I've been picking up, I've sort of been naturally drifting towards it. And I think that's part of that little fun chase I've been doing about picking up just cheap old school legends. So they don't have to be a Hall of Famer, but if they're in the top 75, that's fantastic. But you can pick up some really cool cards. And I'm stealing this idea from, I need to keep reminding myself who gives me these sort of Genesis ideas, but this one's from Lachlan Blunt. So he does his Instagram all around this. So he puts up a picture of an old school guy, puts in like a little bit of a history of the bio. And that's what I've been doing. I've been picking up some cards and I spend, 10 or 15 minutes. And the other thing you can do now too these days is watch footage on these dudes. Like, you just go onto YouTube, put the guy's name in, like, it's all there. It's like laid out on a plate for you. So yeah, I'm definitely gravitating towards on card. And maybe that's also a little bit too of, so is the market maturing, or are we as collectors, is that just like a normal natural progression, do you think?
I think we're just getting old. No. I think that, I don't know, is it the new wave of collectors that are doing it, or is it just something with the people that are preferring on card? Because I'm seeing a lot of it online, but then you meet people and they don't care.
I would still include myself in the new wave of collectors, though, because
all right, that's fair.
I did collect when I was younger, but it's not. You can't say your budget of $2 a week. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
I'll take a sticker auto for $2.
Yeah, that'll be delicious.
But exactly.
And anyway, all right.
I don't know. I think there is a quality, not issue. Wrong word. There's definitely a quality perception around sticker versus on card.
Yeah, definitely. It's
hilarious because you get into the Prism set and it's so often that there's sticker autos.
I don't think you can get on card in Prism, can you?
No, because it's a bit. The silver rookie is the quality rookie card, right?
Oh yeah, that's the
But
one
the
that people
rookie
want.
auto is a sticker auto on the Prism card, and you're like, I don't like that one.
Yeah.
Give me the National Treasures auto.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me the Revolution auto.
Yeah, they're on
Give me
card.
the Next Day Ink because it's an on card auto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. So we're at 21 minutes.
I think you've done remarkably well not to rate. Like, this is.
Why don't we set a small time, say 20 minutes max on this next topic? Because
The World Cup. That's it. Let's get in.
I was going to bring up about the Cardporn watchdog story
Let's
because
do it. We have to do it. We have to cover it. We have to cover it. Let's end with the World Cup.
If you haven't heard about this, a lot of different people have aggregated and written about this story. But where I heard about it was the Collectibles Guru, because I read every one of his
You're
tweets.
Eric's personal assistant. There's rumors going around now.
Look, I'm not going to deny these rumors. But Eric didn't write this story. Darren Rovell did. He's the person who wrote,
we credit it too,
investigated, curated, this whole thing. So he's on Twitter at Darren Rovell, Rovell.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start following this guy, because if he's writing articles like this on a semi-regular basis, I'm all about being informed. So look, I think we just quickly skim over this. I don't think we need to go into the details. If you want to sit down and read, for 15 or 20 minutes about this on Blowout, I think that's the better thing to do. But basically, I think the summary is someone took a Michael Jordan jersey. They then photoshopped pictures that made it look like that jersey was worn in a finals game.
Yep.
They then created a fake charity. They submitted the jersey through this fake charity to Maygray, which is a memorabilia authenticity and auction site. And then it was auctioned off and it was sold off.
Yeah. And it was it photo matched, wasn't it?
But the photos were photoshopped. That's
yeah.
So where this story gets even more compelling, you might say, is that the alleged person is the person who owned the Cardporn Twitter, the Cardporn Instagram, Cardporn Facebook. And probably for me, the part that's the most interesting out of this is that it turns out the guy is allegedly living in Australia at the moment, in Carlton North. So for all you people that are a little bit familiar with Carlton North is also famous for another criminal by the name of Carl Williams, who is the at one point the largest producer and distributor of ecstasy in Melbourne. So if you'd like to read about another criminal from Carlton North, check out Carl Williams, his story. And Demise.
Oh my goodness.
Demise is epic. If you're a true crime aficionado.
Oh my goodness. It's so close to home.
Like about 15 minutes,
I'm waiting for Channel 9 to do the expose, underbelly, Cardporn.
Season 5 of Underbelly.
A new season of Underbelly.
Yeah.
Who's going to play the guys from... I wonder if we can get an acting gig on that. That'd be... You can be your our friend Eric Whiteback. Casting opportunities, you put your hand up for Eric's role.
I'm just having a look at Eric's picture now. He's kind of got like a bit more of a mustache than me.
I'm sure he can give you a mo.
Maybe a little bit thicker hair. It's not that far away. I have to get contacts.
Hey, hang on a second. I can't be Darren.
Anyway, all right. So, what's your thoughts on this? I pretty much know what you're going to say straight away.
Oh, look, it was it. Do I lead with it? It's pretty simple.
No, lead with it. Say it.
This is why we need to regulate the hobby.
Sure.
This is literally why, because Cardporn came out and said they were a hobby watchdog. And what they did is they built this credibility, all these exposés, and look at what we're doing. We've got our finger on the pulse. We're exposing the frauds. And they built all of this credibility. And they used that to defraud people, allegedly, by the way. allegedly. But
Yeah.
if there was an actual hobby watchdog, we wouldn't need these fake watchdogs building trust within people, because that's what they've done. The card porn became synonymous with exposing frauds, exposing the people that were ruining our hobby, and that was worth something.
Yeah.
The integrity or perceived integrity that was built is worth something, and it's worth a lot. Now you see what's happened.
So I'm just going to be devil's advocate just for 2 seconds. And by the way, don't interpret this as me like defending the guy.
No.
Now, so I'm not going to say the guy's name because not that I think enough people listen to our show that would have a lawsuit, but I also, this is a hobby for me and I don't want this to be a lawsuit. So I'm not going to say the guy's name. But if you want find his name, it's on Blowout.
I was going to say it's all over the internet.
It's on Darren Roval's Twitter.
It's on Eric's thing. If you
But
do a deep dive,
he committed the fraud under that name, not under the Cardporn name. And this is the part for me that I'm sort of struggling to get my head around a little bit, because do you remember the episode on Sports Cards Nonsense when he said, oh, if they ever, in that sort of, I don't want to say aggressive, but I don't want to say passive aggressive, but very forward way that Mike speaks. He's like, look, if Cardporn ever calls me out, I know who he is and I'll out him so he can no longer be anonymous anymore.
Yeah.
And so people did know who he was. And there's some suggestion that he was affiliated with, the guys from Golden, and he was affiliated with the guys from PSA. So, whether my thought process is right or wrong here, did he use that handle to improve his clout and his credibility, or were those two entities separate? And so
I think it was revealed that he was linked to both.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was his intent.
Because the other thing is too, is that people are now saying, now that they've heard the name, they actually know that he's done other scams, and this is literally the tip of the iceberg. But
There's a lot of that going around.
It's $1 million scam, so I would assume that surely this can't be the biggest tip on the iceberg. This must be the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
Look, I don't really like it when people are anonymous, and I think I've said this on the show before.
Yeah.
I really actually valued what Cardporn did. So for me, I feel a little bit maybe naive because, we've used a lot of their content on the show.
Hell yeah.
So I can't now sit around and say, oh, he's this and that. And, I didn't like it. Look, I liked the content, and I actually thought
the content isn't the problem though.
Some of the things that he did was actually, very valuable for the community.
Yep.
And I actually thought he maybe again naively that he had the best intentions for the for the hobby and the community. So probably for me, that's where I'm sort of also feeling a little bit like egg on my face. But I would also say too, I actually haven't gone back and listened to the episodes. I am pretty sure I said in the past I wanted this guy to be not anonymous, and the reason for that is because of this, because you can get away with things that you shouldn't be getting away with. And I think there was another instance recently on an Australian page where, someone who was trusted and, holding the community together and holding to the community to accounts was removed. And I think when you're in those positions of power, it does create this very uneasy and an untenable situation when, something does go wrong. And so, I think it's interesting because I think our views on regulation are very different. But in this particular instance, I probably do agree with you. There needs to be some type of, regulation. But if these are the regulators and these are the people who are, now doing scams, it's very, very difficult. So
I was just this is the thing, right? Because I don't think that I think the content that we used to get from Cardporn was very helpful. But the integrity that it was building in the background, that was the dangerous part.
Yeah.
Because all of these people, week after week, we're seeing expose after expose. Cardporn does it again. We've discovered this. We've unveiled this, that, and the other. We've made these discoveries. That's all this trust building, so that there comes a point where the community just take what they have to say at face value, and
Yeah.
I think it's natural to have to for that trust and integrity to be built. But what does Uncle Ben say? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, sure.
And I think I don't think it was built with the most genuine of intent.
Yeah,
I
so
think it
look,
was built to be exploited.
look, I wouldn't say I disagree with that opinion, but
Mm.
the way I probably view it's maybe a bit different because
Yeah.
I think he built that social media and he did it. Look, I think the guy is smart. By the way, that's the other thing I didn't add before. I think
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's a very smart young man, and some people use
Yeah.
smart for the right and wrong reasons. And I think obviously we know what's happened here. And so I think he understood the narratives that people wanted to read. So he took that and he made it into a very clickbait friendly way, right? So
for sure.
let's compare social media of Cardporn to blowout forums, right? It's literally exactly the same thing.
Sure.
But blowout forums is written in a very unuser friendly way, and you have to sit there searching for keywords and sifting through large volumes of information, right?
Yeah.
And so the contrast of those, if you look at this from 2 days old perspective, is that blowout is curated by a large group of people and is quality controlled by a group of moderators, whereas this was a single source, which was anonymous.
Well, that was interesting because we debated this for a while. They were Cardporn was referred to as the group, their people.
Yeah. So I said this to you off air. I actually thought that PSA funded Cardporn. That was my underlying belief because of how sort of pro PSA it was. Anyway, going back to blowout.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think is, this is the old man in the room. What I think is going to happen here is they're going to be sitting back saying, all these young people coming in and out of the hobby, and here we are still standing here, holding the hobby together. So I think, look, kudos to blowout, but I think the person we need to, like this Darren guy, that is, in terms of investigative
A-level
journalism,
yeah.
Final thoughts on this, mate? Because I think we leave it there. We don't need to.
We don't need to deep dive. No. It's the rabbit holes are being dug.
That's right.
All
go
over the internet.
down your own rabbit hole on this. Exactly.
Take the blue pill, the red pill, whatever. Enjoy. Jump down.
Enjoy it too.
Enjoy the dig. Take a spare shovel head because you might get stuck down there. There's a lot of digging to do.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Have fun.
Final thoughts. What do you got?
Final thoughts. It might be the last we've heard of Cardporn, but I don't think it's the last.
I hope it's not the last, right? I hope he gets prosecuted. Just for the record, too. The dude deserves to be prosecuted.
I think, I think he deserves, whatever consequences he's sort of, brought upon himself.
Yep.
Simple as that.
All right.
Yourself?
Oh no! Look, I'm happy for that to be the closing word, mate. I had plenty of time to talk on it. It's just disappointing.
Let's get back to the good stuff.
Yeah. All right. We did a social media post in the last couple of days called Getting a Deal Done. Now, I think this is a really good topic to talk about, even just for 5 minutes. We don't have to go on about it for ages. But I think sometimes talking about the really basic things in the hobby is also a good thing. And I've noticed around a few different pages, sometimes people will ask questions and maybe it's not always the most supportive reception to some of these questions. And do I wonder sometimes do people not ask because, they're scared or whatever. So I thought this is something, we could talk about. And this is a very broad strokes conversation. Like, it's a very open conversation, So,
for sure.
So I'll start with you, Ad. What do you value out of a deal?
So what do we got? It was, what do I value in getting a deal done?
Yeah.
I just transparency.
Yep.
Communication and transparency.
Yep.
They're my big ones.
And that's the thing that came again and again and again. Absolutely. Yep.
And that's the thing. Like, it's all well and good. Things don't always go according to plan.
Definitely not.
And we know life gets in the way. People aren't robots, and this is trying to arrange a time to meet or do a deal or transact between two people that have got their own lives. And yeah, I think clear communication obviously is met with compassion and understanding, and I think we manage to, as long as we're clear and transparent about our situations, we can get to the conclusion of a deal very, very easily. That would be my big thing. And I've got the post up now. Oh, look, communication.
Yeah. So I think for me, let's leave communication out because I think that's been very well covered and will be very well covered in the thing. And you touched on transparency. I'll probably just take that a little bit step further.
Yeah.
So I think for me, what I'm really enjoying at the moment on eBay is how you can put like up to 12 photos of a card. And the other thing I've noticed too, people are getting a lot better at utilizing that space. Look, some people will just put up a single photo of the front, but then some people will put, say, the front, the corners. They might do like the middle surfaces. They might even do an angled photo so you can, get a really good grasp of it.
Yep.
So my probably not horror. This is not even a horror story, but probably one of the stories where I was genuinely disappointed. And you're going to laugh at me for this, and probably other listeners will too. I bought a Probstein, and it was a pretty big card. Like it was a plus like $1,000 card.
Yep.
And Probstein only put up a single picture. They didn't put up a picture of the back, and I wanted the card. And it had not a large surface issue, but it wasn't declared. So that for me was
undeclared issue.
Yeah.
Simple.
So then the other issue too, and this is a little bit of my, geographical sort of situation, is that, it was shipped to my shipping container and shipped out to Australia. So by the time it got to me, it might have been, say, a month later, which is pretty normal for my sort of time between me receiving the card. Depending on also, my shipping cycle. Sometimes it can be longer, sometimes it can be shorter, but so it's very difficult for me to, get any recourse, and their communication is abysmal. So that was very unfortunate. So I would say I value that, if there's damage on the card. So I did a trade with somebody recently, and they were like, you can have this card and you can have it at this price. And the reason you're getting it at this price is it will not gem and it has a scratch, down the middle of the card. And I can't say I was in love with that conversation, but that actual conversation is so valuable because you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, you know exactly what the card is, and there's no sort of surprises, when it arrives, in your home and it's got, damage on the back, right? So how about we take turns reading out the comments and then we'll go down the list, eh?
So, let's do that.
Jared Begg, communication is everything in transactions, I reckon. Always let the buyer know where I'm at in the process. So that's exactly right. I think if you're just telling people, hey, I'm a day late, I'm 2 days late, make sure there's proof of sending the item so they don't have to chase me up about it, have some shockers on the other end of that. Yeah, totally. So my comment on that is that if it's tracking, that's straightforward, right? There's a process for that tracking number done. I like to do a video of the card going into it, and I've had flack from people about this. And can I be honest with you guys? I do it for myself. Okay, I send so many cards, I forget like what I've sent.
But that's part of your personal record keeping process.
That's
right?
Exactly right. Yeah. So yes, it's it's for you. It gives you some peace of mind. But I've got to tell you guys,
here's a video I took, but you took it for yourself, so that if there's any recourse, you're like, no, I did this. Here's the.
No, also, I've put that bag down. Do you know what I mean? Like that.
It's done.
That parcel sent.
It's done. You don't sit there wondering, oh, I hope they get it.
Yeah.
You're like, I've done my bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Fair. Who's next? Then we have Ryan Jewell. Red flags are too much of a drop in price when negotiating an offer, or those that pester constantly.
Yeah, the pestering constantly, that gives me EBGBs too. Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's bartering and then there's pestering. Do you know what I mean? Like where it's, are we negotiating something here, or are you just berating me to get me to drop the price and shut you up? And that's a tactic. And if people didn't accept the prices, it wouldn't work.
I wonder this one, what he's saying though is like, it's a cheap price, and they're saying like, pay, when are you going to pay? When are you going to pay? When are you going to pay? When are you going to pay?
Yeah.
And then they disappear, right? Ryan Primetime Purcell, active communication, timeliness, honesty, and a personable interaction. After all, this is a hobby for most. I mean, look, I personally think I agree. Yes, it's a hobby, but I think you're expecting a lot from card nerds, mate, to get a personable interaction every time.
You know what? If you ask them about their personal collection, they won't shut up. It'll be fine. They'll tell you every story they want, but if it comes to doing a deal, get the business done.
Yeah.
That's what they become less personable. You meet them at a trade day and they will tell you every story about every card they've ever got. But if you're like selling them a card,
Table, bro, I gotta go.
come on, man,
go.
come on. Where's the tracking? Where's the tracking? Where's the tracking? Give me my card. Will you do it at a better price? No. Anyway,
Yeah.
not everybody is like that. We're sort of taking the piss out of some exaggerations, I guess. But it is a hobby, and yeah. Who have we got? Paul Riley.
Yeah.
Communication is key. Are we getting a theme here?
Yeah. Communication was the like.
Yeah, as a seller, I can't stand people who message short phrases like best price, last comp was. Yeah. My current pet peeve was an $85 card I purchased, sent to me without tracking, which never turned up. Wait. That I purchased, sent to me without tracking, which never turned up, got a refund, but was actually wanting the card. Okay,
Yeah.
so you bought a card, bought it without tracking, it never showed up, and you got a refund. But you wanted to, yeah, look, you don't know if you've been scammed or if what, you know what I mean? Or if the person lost the card. It sucks, but at least you got a refund. There are worse things.
So, at what price point do you pay for tracking on your cards?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've never really thought about it. I normally, if I'm buying, I feel like if I'm spending more than $100, I'm wanting tracking. Sometimes more than 50, but $100 is my. When I sell cards, I say any purchases over 100 must be sent tracked.
Yeah.
And anything over 200 purchased gets free tracking.
Okay. So for me, anything over 50, I pay for tracking on.
Yep.
And anything that I put tracking on, I pay with goods and services. But this is like a small Russellism. Just say I get a card I pay $25 for it, but I get it in a bargain for an auction. And I think in my head, the card's worth 45 or 50. I'm like, I'm putting tracking onto it, right? Because it's in my head, it's still worth $50. So, I want to get that card. The only other caveat to that, those two, is if I pay goods and services, I always then pay tracking, because I think it's unfair if you not would do a chargeback, but could charge it back for the card not coming, but you haven't paid for tracking. You know what I mean? Like, that's not fair on that scenario.
Fair.
And that is really annoying when that happens. You get the refund, but actually, like, I'm disappointed. I actually wanted the card, not the cash,
Yeah, true. Friend of the show, John O'Michaels, has just chipped in and he said every price point. Bought and sold.
Hang on a second. That's because every card in his pocket change is like 1,000 plus. So, Jono, hang on, mate.
He said he's bought and sold thousands of cards and always tracked. Always.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look, and it's not worth the headache. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's the other reason why I have such a short trigger on goods and services, though, too. I cannot be bothered, like, worrying about this stuff. It's, you pay 50 cents or $2 or whatever, and it's sorted. Timothy
Anthony
Price.
Mill just chipped in as well. Window shoppers are the best.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
They're the glue of the hobby, Anthony. Come on.
Yeah, that's it.
Timothy Price, respectable and personable communication. That word again throughout the deal is what I value. If trading my ideal transaction sees both parties receive something they want for their collection with no real talk of values. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And who have we got? Lucky last, David Ralph. Pics uploaded of the card bought, packaging process, tracking details, and filming of standard postage.
Beautiful.
Cards from $2 and up, individually penny sleeved, top loaded, and team bagged.
Jeez, $2 card in a top loader.
I have had plenty of $5 and higher cards valued and purchased from private sellers and breakers, not even penny sleeved.
Yeah.
Hobbyists who use base cards in their packaging. Red flags. Negotiating postage prices. No reply after 48 hours. Sticky tape used in packaging instead of like the masking tape, I guess.
Yeah.
The masking tape, yep. Craft tape comes off. Overcharging on postage of cards because they weren't happy with their final auction price.
How do you feel about us sending David out a box of cards in this response?
I love it. It's like it's pros and cons. Like we got 4 red flags, we got 3 really nice positives.
I feel like this is better than I could
Yeah.
have put together, to be honest.
Can you tape up the box with sticky tape though?
Absolutely.
Done.
I can take the cards out of the packs and not put them into penny sleeves.
Penny
too.
sleeves.
So my penny sleeve story, I'm not sure if I've told this or not. I bought this lot of cards off a dude in America, and on the pictures they were in penny sleeves and top loaders. He posted them out to me just like raw dog. I sent him a message. I was like, "What happened to the penny sleeves?" And he said, "Oh, penny sleeves are quite expensive. I sell so many cards. I can't afford a penny sleeve for all these cards. Got to like take care of." I'm like, "What planet are we living on?"
They're called penny sleeves for a reason, right? Maybe with
Yeah.
inflation they're now
That's right. 2 penny sleeves,
they're pound sleeves.
dollar sleeves.
Dollar sleeves.
No reply after 48 hours. I think that is a massive red flag. Most
Yeah.
people will look at their phone at least twice a day, so that's 12 hours,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Look, and
Beautiful
the
answer, David.
overcharging on postage. Don't they have fixed postage like that before auctions? and
Yeah,
stuff
so
on eBay,
most pages these days have cracked down on that type of stuff, but it's still annoying. He's
it's
right.
streamlined. It's annoying though. It's really annoying. Yeah, agreed.
Alrighty, Ripper. Yep, David, we'll be in touch, mate. We'll get you something out. That was fantastic. All right, our friends at GemRate, the August statistics are out. Ryan, I hope you're well, mate. And
GemRate. Oh,
to me, like you're going along at a really 1,000 knots, mate. So keep up the fantastic work. Look, I think we can.
who's not going at 1,000 knots? Beckett.
Can we put this whole ridiculous argument to bed now about PSA versus everyone else? It's over, guys. It's over.
I'm sure everybody else thinks it's everybody else versus PSA. PSA don't give a fat rat's flying toss at the moment.
All right. So last month, PSA did 1.23 million cards. SGC did 118,000. CGC, which is also combined recently, they've done 106K, and Beckett 75. So look, it's
good
over,
effort,
guys.
Beckett. You keep it. You hang in there.
The Vince Carter like does the dunk and does that over thing. This is like, that's it. It's over.
Yeah. It's done. It's stick a fork in it. It's done. Yeah, it's cooked.
Really interesting though that Beckett's actually up 82% from last year.
Well, didn't they were near like standstill last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
was that still at the shutdown, was it?
Oh, sort of. They remember they took a long time to really build back up.
Yeah.
To open up. So maybe 1 month they'll get up to that magic 100 number. They're not getting anywhere near 1 million though.
It's toe curling, isn't it? Any thoughts about this before we move on?
Look, yeah. There's a lot of cards going to PSA.
It's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards going to PSA.
Yeah.
You can see that the numbers, because they're headed upwards again. Clearly, this means that like people are getting on board with the convention specials and the bulk deals that have been. Looks like people are back on board, just bulk submitting cards.
So the general consensus through the hobby at the moment is that the hobby's slowing down. And even so, did you listen to the recent episode of Sports Cards Nonsense?
No, I haven't.
Basically, he wasn't. He as a joke, he was saying that he's going to make it like a whinging episode, but he wasn't really whinging. He was just talking about a few different issues. But one of the things he touched on was break slowing down.
Yeah.
So, this seeing numbers like that, like that's a lot of cards being sent off. Do you think that people are saying, well, instead of spending money on breaks, I'm going to buy singles and I'm going to look at my own PC and I'm going to send off my cards for grading? Like it's,
yeah.
Look, I think that definitely people are slowing down their spending. I don't think that's up for debate. But
yeah,
classic example at the moment is
I don't think the hobby's dying.
No, like the flash lines they're running at the moment, like they're running hot. People still like jumping in minis and randoms for cards, and auctions are going pretty strong at the moment. Like there's a lot of cards probably auctioning, higher than buy it now prices on some pages. So it does make me think, breaks have slowed down, but maybe that was what's the word? There was a time when something was hot and now it's cooled off and
It's
people are still here,
been
but
a
they're doing
plateau.
other
It's
things. Yeah.
it's
They're doing
plateaued.
different things,
So
Yeah.
many other areas of the hobby are growing. Yeah, this area is not. But
Yeah.
do you remember when people were just learning about breaks and then there was the hot period?
Yeah.
Now everyone's familiar with them and
It's
people
not as
are
fun and
going,
it's exciting and
yeah, like, well, and the sealed prices have come down somewhat. So people are like, I can go and buy myself a box rather than go on a break.
you cannot not have that thought. Do you take a break for a month and buy a box of sealed? Like it's not outrageous to
I've got
do
a
the
couple of
numbers.
got a couple of posts in the chat.
Talk to me.
First, we've got James Gregory, who just wanted to know, should he send his Marvin Williams cards to Beckett just to help him out?
They're not a charity, James. Don't worry about it, mate. Send your money to a food kitchen.
What do we got? Stephen Hallam. Hobby is shifting to picking and choosing and focusing on quality rather than quantity.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And then Jono Michaels, flash lines are just the start. USA pages offer so many different variations of razzes, flashes, etc. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Fair. And this is what fanatics have been preaching. Is that what is going to come? There are going to be new.
There's different ways to do things. There's more different, exciting.
As the hobby evolves,
interactive.
things will change. Like, we all collected in the 90s. Those of us that did collect in the 90s, there was no such thing as a break. Do you know what I mean? Like, breaks didn't come about until very recently.
Look, I don't think breaks are going away, but
they didn't exist then. That's what I'm saying. There'll be something else that didn't exist.
Yeah, sure.
And there'll be new ways to consume the product.
Yep.
And our hobby that we all love and we know is not going anywhere.
I still consider breaks to be the mother of cards, though. You know what I mean? Like when people say,
the mother of cards.
Oh, Papa, where did these cards come from? I'll be like, they came from breaks, children. This is where they came from.
How did you get that case hit? Well, son, I went in a break.
Alrighty. We've got two more segments. We've got one about World Cup performances. So I thought I'd let you talk a little bit about the World Cup. And then I want to nerd out hardcore, do some deep cut off-season signings. I want to talk about
deep cuts.
Garuba. I want to talk about AO. It's going to be only for the nerds. So let's talk about Luka.
This is the late night special. Will be the final segment.
Late night breaks.
Are we going to lead with Luka, my favorite player?
We are going to lead with Luka because I know that you're a Luka hater, and don't say you're not. And
I'm not denying that at all.
All right, so this is why people love Luka and should love Luka. It's the same as
I do not like watching Luka. Can I just put that there? He is so painful to watch.
Look,
They say LeBron
you're a Luka
sooks.
hater.
Has anyone watched Luka Doncic just sook at referees? That's all he does. That's all he did against the Australians.
No matter what he does, you find something to pick at him. You're a Luka hater.
He got into foul trouble and had a big sook, and I don't know how we didn't get him his last foul. But anyway, yes, Luka has reminded the world.
The reason why people love Luka is because he plays hard. He's very, very skillful, and the same as Josh Giddey, he represents his country at a very high level.
At a high level, yeah.
For a long period of time, right? Like you need. Sometimes where you hate this dude, but you still got to give him their props. Like you need to give this guy his props for what he's done.
Yeah, I'm down
in the World Cup and represent his country. Like he is, and I think that is, we talk about legacy, right? So
true.
Let's talk about Manu Ginobili. He didn't just get into the Hall of Fame for his NBA career. He got into it for all the other stuff that he did too, right? Like, what he did with the Argentinian national team was like legendary. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm a Luka lover, and I'm not going to deny that. But I've been very, very impressed with him this World Championships.
Struggle watching. The only game I've seen him play is the Australian game the other night, and look, they will get as far as Luka will take them.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry if I'm being overly critical, but the Aussies need to find some shooters. They need to find some offense because we've got some great defenders. But when you've got people like Joe Ingles afraid to shoot the ball and to turn a negative into a positive, Josh Giddey took over that game in the third quarter to bring Australia back within like 4 points.
Yeah.
Now, Josh Giddey, I don't associate with being a dominant scorer. But there was a point there where he just identified that no one was scoring and he needed to take over.
Yep.
And I think that is a flash of insight into the future of what Giddey is capable of.
Okay.
And I think there will come a point where it'll be SGA is not getting buckets. Things are not going well in OKC, and he'll just turn on a quarter and just dominate. And I think he is capable. After seeing that, I feel like the rest of his team let him down a little bit. But look, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. But I think that was a flash of brilliance from Giddey. I think it's a glimpse of the future. And it's only the World Cup. It's not the NBA. Go away, Luca.
Yeah, so just to finish off that part of the conversation,
I'm still critical on him.
They knocked the Aussies out from medal contention, so congratulations to Luca and the Doncic's. We the You Can't Comp This podcast is very proud of you.
Well done. And, enjoy the FIBA World Cup. Yeah, as
so,
far as you'll go.
So just going back to Josh Giddey for 2 seconds, the last time we spoke about him on the show, we were comping him out. My memory serves me correct, he was around sort of the 230 to 250 mark. So if you look at his sales, well, this is all time, but let's go back to the last 3 months. The last 3 months, he is up 35%. So from 210, his last sale was 285, and he peaked at 295. So I think that for me, this is just a direct reflection of all the stuff we've said, which is great about Josh Giddey. World Championships, signing autographs, kissing babies, all this, the fantastic stuff he's been doing. So look, huge props for Mr. Giddey. Now, Luka Doncic.
See, can we, while we're on Luka, can I just reassure our listeners that I'm not pulling a card porn here and trying to get everybody to jump off the Luka bandwagon so that I can get on it. I have no intention on devaluing Luka to the point where I can buy all the cards. I don't want Luka, and I still don't think he's going to be valuable once he tanks. Anyway.
Alrighty.
God.
Luka, for the last 3 months, you should see how many sales this guy has had. Like, talk about liquid. So on the Giddey map, there was 8 dots. There must be 30 on this. So he last sold for $1,400 for a silver PSA 10. In the last 3 months, he's up 11%. I think that what you really need to keep in mind here is the period that we're in. Like, it's a very well described, downward swing. But the thing that you cannot turn away from here is it's the off season. Nothing goes up in the off season. So the fact that he is up, even this was up, say 3%, I would still be very warmed by that. I think, this is very, very good if you're a Luka fan or you're holding Luka.
Do you know what I'm cold on? A PSA 9 Magic Johnson 1981 tops has a population count of exactly half of this, and the last sold was $600.
So the silver is selling for $450. So you're saying that the Magic?
No. Yeah, so I'm saying the Magic sold for $675.
Did you say PSA 9?
Oh, so PSA 9 on the I'm
Magic?
talking the pop count. Yeah, I'm talking the pop count though.
Yeah, I'm just comping.
Yeah, I'm PSA 9.
I'm saying 9 to 9. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the pop count. Oh, no, I was looking at the PSA 10. The Luka PSA 10 versus the Magic, because we're not going to get 17K for a Luka. But I'm saying a card with twice as much population, yes, granted it's a 10, is selling for twice as much money. Whose rookie card would you prefer? Would you prefer 2 Magic Johnson PSA 9s from 1981, his first solo rookie card, I'll call it?
That's not his rookie card, though, is it?
Well,
it's the year after, isn't it?
That's the 81, but it's the first time he appeared solo on a card.
Look,
because he doesn't have a rookie card.
So if you re-ask that question and you say Magic Johnson's rookie card, so even if it is the shared card, versus a Luka, like right now, like dollar for dollar. So just say I could get a PSA 10 Luka or a PSA 7 Magic card. Look, Look, I would take the Magic just for the fact that those 3 guys are, GOATs and all the rest of it.
You know how many rings that man's got.
So at the moment, maybe we can do this for next week's show.
Mm.
What are the 10 people that you feel comfortable putting your money into? And
Yeah.
Luca is on my list, right? Like I feel very comfortable with this guy.
Yep.
And this is actually very unusual for me because my normal feeling about, so for example, Zion, I have very minimal Zion in my fantasy. I've got a tiny bit of Jar, but that was because Jar was cheaper than Zion, and I don't have a single LaMelo Ball. Like okay, maybe I've got like one base card that came to me
Sure. But
as
you're
packet. You
not
know what I mean?
actively
Like,
shopping, right?
no, I always feel a little bit risk adverse from those guys. I feel like, I'm just a matter of time till I sort of get burnt a bit. So whereas Luca, I don't actually feel like this. And actually, if you've been buying Luca in the last 12 months, you've probably made money. So it's a very,
LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Luca, and Giddy. That's the Australian market right now.
and the kid from the Pelicans, that Aussie kid, what's his name? Dyson Daniels.
Dyson Daniels.
Yep.
You know who's on my list? Austin Reeves. No.
Yeah, so and that was the next one that I had on the list was Austin Reeves, and that will transition us nicely into our deep cut off season signings list too. So so Austin Reeves is probably for me, actually, if I had to write a list today, Austin Reeves is number one. And this is a massive shift in my mentality because a few weeks ago I was on the show saying like some of this stuff that it's selling for is just ridiculous. And it is ridiculous, but there's also some cards that are actually probably undervalued when it comes to Reeves. So you need to pick and choose your spots. But the reason why I'm so high on this kid is because of what Steve, obviously I watched the guy play, but what Steve Kerr says, and I really respect what Steve Kerr says. He basically says that he can fit into any basketball situation and excel. So if you put him on a half-court team, he'll work out a way to win. You put him on a fast break team, he'll work out a way to win. You make him the centerpiece of the offense, he will execute.
He'll execute.
That is so important. And you think about his performance last year, he was actually the go-to guy sometimes for that Lakers team. He was actually creating offense. And then there's other times when he will be like the guy who's receiving the drive and kick from LeBron, And so that contract they signed to him, this is now my segue going to the second part, is probably the best contract in the league. The only guy who I think is going to come close to that is going to be PJ Washington. And they both signed for about the same amount of money, sort of around that like 12 million per year mark.
Yeah.
So
crazy. Although, what was it was it the Minnesota game? We came out, I am him, Austin Reeves.
What was that?
That was when he came out and he was saying, I am him, as in,
I mean, look,
stop him. And it was like, I am him. Try and stop me. Yeah.
And
then Anthony Edwards backed him up and in Team USA and was saying, this is him.
Can I be honest with you though? If I had as much money as these guys and could dunk on people and stuff, I'd be saying all sorts of crazy stuff. I'd be like, I'd have more tattoos and more ice than like LaMelo Ball and 2 Chainz combined. You know what I mean? I'd be walking around like a crazy person. So, I'm going to give these kids their minute. That's fine.
I love it.
Enjoy it, boys. Yep. All right. So PJ Washington silver PSA 10 is currently selling at $20. I think this is stupid. The guy is talented to like $100 to $120 to $150 value. So I know the narrative around this dude is not great, but people will forgive and forget. And so he's rebuilding his life already. He's already been back on the court. So I think this is just a matter of time until this card just comes back around.
Yep.
Deep cut, and excuse my pronunciation, Svi Mikhailiuk, MYK.
Svi Mikhailiuk.
Thank you.
I know this because he played like a couple of months for the Lakers.
Yeah, he's back in the league. He's back in the league. He's signed with Boston. Look,
that's a way to stick it to the Lakers. He's signed with Boston.
It's possible this dude won't stick.
Yeah.
There's a few guys who are bustling around the league at the moment who, may or may not stick. And, he's definitely one of those kids. Yeah. So how I feel about this guy is if you're sitting on this guy's cards, you have them in your collection and you do want to, flip them out, start looking to list these cards because people will get interested. The name will start to get, even a small amount of buzz and, they're the type of cards that you do want to start to move out. So Dylan Windler is another prospect you might have on your radar. He's just been re-signed to a 2-way contract.
Nice.
I'm not buying any Dylan Windler, but at the same time, he's that kind of prospect that, could stick. And you're going to have, I bet everybody has got some Dylan Windler. He's those guys that always come out and breaks. Usman Garuba was waived by OKC. I think this is a little bit of a theme that's going to be going around at the moment, where if you're a young prospect and you play for OKC, you kind of have your suitcase sort of already half packed. That team is just so ridiculously stacked.
And it's just full of more draft picks coming. So they're just going to be recruiting kids, and it'll be, if you don't make it into the rotation or aren't given an opportunity within a certain period, expect to be on your bike.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. And I kind of feel bad for some of them. But I think a guy like Garuba, I think is going to stick in the league, though. I think he's got enough legs that, he will be back. So if you're holding a whole bunch of Garuba, don't lose hope. I think this is just, I think we can call this the OKC effect, Ad. Honestly, this is going to be a thing in the next couple of years that we're going to be just watching young kids just get cut. So
I think it all, but think about that, though. There's opportunity there sometimes.
Yeah, sure. Yep. And okay, so let's use this next player as that opportunity. So Ty Washington, he was a Houston Rockets draft player last year. He was then traded in the offseason to OKC. He's been cut. He's been picked up by the Bucks. So, and you spoke about the Bucks before about getting a bit more talent onto that roster, and sometimes you just need young legs to get out there and have a bit of shooting, have a bit of energy, and a bit of like go and get up. And look, he might only average 5 or 6 minutes a game for that team. That they're deep as anything.
Yeah, that's true. But Josh Hart have injuries.
Yeah, that's right. Josh Hart is re-signed with the Knicks for 4 years, $81 million. I'm going to put the reason I put this into the list is the same reason I had PJ Washington and I spoke about Austin Reeves. These contracts. So what you need to keep in mind here is, so think about what Jaylen Brown signed for, that ridiculous bag of money that he just got. And then you compare that to Josh Hart. So both of these guys are going to be playing 30, 35 minutes a game, but one guy's getting paid 25% of what the other guy's paying, right? So that's where you need to
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so you also need to keep in mind too that 20 million now is going to be worth like 10 million in the future, basically how much the cap is going to be going up. So for the Knicks, that's an absolute home run. And keeping that bucket of money in mind, Anthony Davis re-signed for 3 years, 186 million. So Jaylen Brown was the highest paid player for about 2.5 weeks. Anthony Davis has now taken over that new mantle. So on average, we're looking at around 60 million bucks a year. $1 million a week, or $1 million and say 250,000, and change.
That's a lot of money.
I'm just so happy for the guy. I'm just so happy for Anthony Davis.
Given limited number of games he plays,
so
if you
average that out per game played, that's
he's on big money. Yep.
This next signing, I'm very high on, and I think this is this is a basketball card podcast, so I probably haven't done that great of a job these last few talking about guys who you need to keep an eye on, but everybody needs to put AO into their bookmark list. They need to do like a bit of a search on eBay for this kid. So hear me out on this, right? 6 million, 7 million, 7.5. That is going to be, I've just said that, Austin Reeves is the number one trade piece in the league. All right, I'll put AO at number 3. And the reason is because the Bulls need players in such a bad way. So Lonzo's not coming back. I think that's done and dusted. The Vucevic deal is going to be a really tricky one because they couldn't give up on him just for the fact of they gave up 4 major pieces for that. Pat Williams is still, I think it's still fair to say that he's still coming back. And that injury that he had, this is the season where you expect to see, significant growth post that injury. They just need someone to, be out there on the court. Kobe White hasn't panned out for them as, what they were expecting.
No.
So,
shame, because there's a lot of Kobe White PSA 10s around.
There's a lot of them, and they're very cheap too. They were selling at $10 at one point, right? So, I'm very, very high on this. I think that that's an absolute steal for the Bulls, and they need that. They kind of need to recoup some young assets. They needed to get a good contract on their books.
True.
And that is just, so I'm very high on this kid. Admiral Schofield on a 2-way contract.
Oh, it's back.
That's a very personal one, but I was very happy about that.
He's back in the league. Just needs 1 or 2 games, then you can just clear your
I
PC
don't
out.
think I can clear. I'm just going to keep watching it and just live in hope. Trey Jones with the Spurs, 2 years, $20 million.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not really too sure about this contract. I think actually technically it's a 1-year contract. The second year is a team option. So,
Okay, so it's a team option.
Okay. I don't like the team options like that. I prefer a player option. Sort of gives them, a bit more control, but still, that's a good bag for him. But I think if the Spurs want a clear room, that's obvious there. Bol re-signed for $2,165,000. Now, when do you start prospecting Bol again? Like, just hear me out on this. At one point, that kid was selling for
money.
Hideous amounts of money. And I'm not saying that you should go out and spend that. Like, that's clearly not the intent here. So he's selling at the moment for 35 USD for a PSA 10. You can't convince me that that's a better buy than PJ Washington. But if you said to me, he's going to be on a team that's really deep and it's going to go for a really long playoff run.
It's going to end up on the Bucks. Who do you end up on?
He's with the Suns.
Okay. Oh, wow.
The Suns should make the finals.
The Suns are probably the scariest starting 5 anyway.
No one's got more talent than that team. So, everyone loves a redemption story. Everyone loves a long playoff run, and he might get out and tear it up in a couple of playoff games. I can see that popping off.
I actually think Bol as a different type of big compared to what Phoenix have got. He's a different option. Yeah, I like it. I think it could be interesting.
Yeah.
Could have some fun with the second unit.
Yep.
Watch this space.
This is a very personal one for me. Danilo Banton signed with the Celtics, a 1 year plus a team option. Look, I don't think you should heavily prospect this dude. He's 23 years old already, but I think that where the Raptors do a really good job is getting in guys who can play minimum of 3 positions, sometimes 5. You can literally play Banton at all 5 positions. I think he's the type of guy that is just like, the future of the NBA. That
is he your Magic Johnson comp? Your next Magic Johnson comp?
So let's keep a lid on this. Like, what's the word of like Magic Johnson Pepsi Light or Magic Johnson training pants or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, this kid is.
Yep.
Hang on, I got one. Danilo Banton is the Coke Zero, no caffeine, no sugar version of Magic Johnson.
Okay. Magic Light.
What's the Coke called that has no sugar or caffeine?
Water.
There actually is a Coke that has no sugar and water.
That's just, ugh. Yeah, that's just not pleasant.
So I think we should leave this week's episode with that. What's the Coke called that has no sugar and no caffeine?
Yeah, and that's going to be that's going to be the Danilo Banton. Oh wow!
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. If you are watching, enjoy the rest of the FIBA World Cup. We're down at the pointy end. Let's see how far the Luka and the Doncic's can take it.
Yeah, that's it.
Hopefully not too much further. Anyway. Because they all drink the Coke with no caffeine or sugar in it. Anyway.
You're such a hater.
I am a hater. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye. James Greg.